I would like to call to order the Board of Mayor and Aldermen work session, July 6, 2023. Are there any public comments this morning? Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Board, in your package, you have got the minutes for the work session, June the 8th. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, those will stand as written. Also, on the review of the special call work session minutes, that was regarding the budget, June 17th. Are there any corrections on those minutes? Those will stand. Thank you. Then we're going to move into the department reports, and first up is Director Eddie Plunkett for Public Works.
Thank you. All I've got this morning is William D. Jones has been backfilled, the gravel's down. They need to seed and straw, and weather cooperates, they'll be paying soon. And I'm still short-handed by 3. If anybody needs a job, send them to us. That's all I've got. This is any questions.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Next up is Chief Pendergraft with the Police Department.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First on the agenda is a resolution to accept, or to a bid for, to apply for the governor's school resource officer grant. This is $75,000 per school resource officer per year. The resolution is attached, and I strongly encourage y'all to approve this. Second on the agenda is a event permit, the Back to School Square Crawl, and this will be to celebrate the tax-free weekend coming up. There'll be bounce houses and stuff around the square. This will not require overtime. We'll handle this with patrol. Next is the Lincoln County Democrats Back to School Bash. This will be at Kiwanis Park. I did get a call from Miss Broderick, who requested to adjust the times for this event. It was originally scheduled for 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and she said they've added some guest speakers, and she asked that we amend it to start at 1 o'clock until 6 p.m. I've checked with Mr. Carter, and we don't have any conflicts for that. So, and again, we'll handle this with on-duty personnel.
Chief, you said 1 p.m.
Yes.
to 6 p.m. All right, it's got 3 p.m. right here.
Yeah, she called and asked to adjust that.
Cool. All right.
And that's my report.
Any questions?
When are the body cams possibly going to be, or are they already been ordered? Are they on the way? Or
The money's in, but till we get a passed budget, we can't order them. We're in evaluation process now. We've narrowed it down to 3 vendors.
Okay.
And we're going to get those guys in and let them do one last sales pitch. We'll pick what we want, and by the time we do that, everything will be passed, and we'll get these things ordered.
Chief, on those three patrol units that board set aside funding for a few months ago, they've been ordered.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I believe 2 are in. We're just in the process now of getting them striped, getting them the radios in, the blue lights on.
Did you go with the Tahoe or Durango?
Durangos.
3 Durangos. On this resolution for the grant for the SRO, $75,000 each, and we've got 3. You'll be applying for 3.
Correct.
So that $75,000 cannot go to general fund. It has to be used on those SROs.
That's correct.
Or their equipment,
Correct.
something along that line.
Equipment, training, and payroll.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is that a grant? Does that continue to go on, or is this just a
Yes.
one-time grant?
Well, that's the thing we asked when they first brought this thing up. How long is this going to last? Governor Lee made this a law. So in order for this to end, some legislators going to have, or some politicians going to have to say, I want to cut funding to the school security, and they ain't going to do that. That's political suicide. So we expect this to go on.
Expect to be reoccurring.
Correct.
And pretty much if we apply for it, we're automatically going to get it? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next up is the fire department, and we have Assistant Chief Davey Bergman.
Good morning. I got some information for you on our training. August 24th, we have a CMERT class coming up. It's a prereq for our hazmat technician class. It's a 2-day class. We have a hazmat tech class that's going to be starting October 16th. That's the 80-hour class for our technicians. The resolution that we're asking for y'all to pass is to receive $3,003 for the FM Global Grant. That's going to be to purchase a new Sparky outfit. That's where we go to the schools and all the events and all that good stuff. Our other one's got some age on it and it's ready to be updated. The VDM module for Ladder 1 has, we're waiting on them to install that. And that is my report.
On your training, do y'all do that in-house or off-site?
No, sir. It's both. We use the EMA building, but we
Right.
use TEMA for that. Free class. All we got to do is pay the salaries.
Okay, all right,
On both of those are free.
thank you.
And also on the, I want to thank y'all for going out to the school and having the water day. It looked like the kids had a really
loved it.
good time.
Of course, we did too, though.
Yeah, and with the Sparky, the new Sparky, I mean, just seeing y'all out in the public and engaging with the citizens is really good, so appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hey, Dave, sorry, man.
No, it's all right.
I had a question. The old EMA building, right there where the old police department is, right behind y'all. Is that being utilized now by
That's
anything?
county-owned property.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say, could that be used for something where y'all could train in there or do something, but.
The county owns that, and I think the board decided to do some property swaps back when the police department moved out of that.
Cool.
We did for matter of information, a couple of years ago, maybe longer than that, I don't remember exactly how long, but that was the old police building where they was at. When that was set up, all of that was the school property in that area right in there. When that was originally set up, it was set up to where the fire department had a lease on the building, on that property. It was a long-term lease that the city fire department had. So what we did is we swapped that older building for that property is no longer a lease. That property belongs to us now.
Gotcha.
Fire department does. So the lease part's gone away. It's ours now. And we didn't have any use for that old building. The condition it's in, you can see why we wouldn't necessarily right now. So there was some asbestos issues. There was some serious leakage issues with that building. So that's how the county ended up with it on the swap. But the lease part will run out at some point way down in the future, but we felt like the city was in a better position just to own that property that fire department's sitting on. So that's how all that came about.
Yes. Thank you, Danny. I didn't know that. Appreciate it.
Any more questions?
Next up is Parks and Recs, Director Brian Carter.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our first item that I have on my agenda is for replacement parts for our kids' park. And there was a quote that we have that was about $17,849.73 when we passed that through committee and finance, and we want to bring that to work session this morning. Basically, that would get our park up to standards, but we'll still need other things that would happen on through as time goes on. The park is 20-ish years old, and there are things that are going bad on it, so there are things that we need to take care of so that we can have it up to standard. Right now, we do have it open. We have corrected a lot of things that were bad right now, at this present time, so we are back to where we should be at this present time.
Brian, do you have I'm sure if you didn't have, you will have, a time to go through and look at all of this, inspect all this property maybe every month or something? Do you have something like that in place?
Where our plan is right now, what we're doing every morning, we're going out and inspecting.
Oh, every
And then-
morning?
Every
Okay.
morning, yes.
All right.
We want to start that every morning, and we have started. Brad, our maintenance supervisor, myself, Mr. Owens also, we're going out and
Okay.
we're inspecting that. And we're also wanting to send Brad to have classes so he can be certified as far as an inspector for playground equipment.
Okay.
Vice Mayor, if I may add to Brian's comment, last Wednesday, we had a person from our public entity partnership who comes in and sold our insurance provider. He gave us a checklist to go by. So now Brian or Steph or myself, we can go out there with this checklist. It's a certified checklist. We're keeping a file of all of them each time we go. As Brian said, we probably 3 or 4 times already have gone out and inspected, and we're keeping a file, a database on each time we inspect the property.
Well, I did notice is what kind of got my attention. Equipment wears out. That's just how it is.
Correct.
Any equipment's going to wear out. But I did notice where he was looking for a certified welder to do some welding, maybe. If you're at a point where something's broke bad enough to need a welder, then it's pretty bad.
Right.
I had spoken to Mr. Owens, and it would be a idea to talk with Leadership Lincoln, since this was their original project, and as projects go on, to get them to see if they would replace or sponsor a piece of equipment every year, and that would stop them from having to look for something to construct here. But that would be a great idea, if you could speak with who's in charge of that.
Also, Brian, they, back in, to hit off Miss Dorothy, they had, I think they sold bricks, the commemorative bricks that had everybody's name on it. I think they donated something stuff, so that could be something that you could possibly, and they could do that too, look into that, saying people that want to donate and then put their name on a brick or something that says like dedicate a bench to them or something, and they could add, just an idea. So.
All right, any questions?
Before, and just address Vice Mayor Bryant, we did find a great certified welder, but we were fortunate that Ed and his crew were able to take care of it in-house, so we did not have to expense, although we do have a good welder on file now, but for the corrections done, we did it in-house.
That's good. That's good. It's good to have departments working together.
Yes.
And Public Works certainly steps up and does a lot of work.
Okay, moving on. Our Don Davidson electrical drainage project. The electricity is on at Don Davidson and all the lights are working there. We are getting ready to, as far as pipe drainage, we're getting ready to install that. We have in our softball season, and after that has happened, then we'll go ahead and complete that project. Lee parking lot, our fence openings have been open, and right now we're waiting on the inspector to come through to let us locate the lines the telephone lines that are running through. As soon as we get that report, we'll be working on that. Kids Park, we just mentioned that. We've talked about that. It is open. Our fireworks display. We'd like to thank everyone involved, as police, fire, IT, streets, everyone that helped us out to get that thing kicked off. It was a great show. I enjoyed it, and I've heard great things about it. It was really good. Our soccer complex netting. We're looking to have some help with that, and we're trying to get some quotes out that installed. I don't know if some people thought it was a smaller, just regular go, but we're talking about anywhere from 20 feet high poles that we're going to have to put up, and we're going to need help getting that installed. Pool update, our pool admissions June 1 through June the 22nd. We had a total of $7,155 with about an average of 65 people daily, and our concessions, we ran about $2,873 total sales, and that's from June the 1st through June the 22nd. This month is Parks and Recreation Month, and we will be having events that'll be going through each week. So we're looking forward for that, and looking forward for everyone to come out and join us. Any questions?
Brian, on the soccer field, are you have to run the irrigation very much this year?
We have.
You've had to.
Yes, we have. Yes.
Because of dry weather.
Because it's dry. Yes, we have.
It's working good, right?
It is working well. Yes. We have it scheduled. It goes off at, I think, 6. Brad has it going off about 6 in the morning.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Brian, on the pool concessions, you said you got $2,873 total in sales. Now, does that money go back into y'all's personal budget that y'all use to take care of like maintenance or
No, it doesn't. It goes back into the general fund.
general fund? Okay,
Yes.
our general fund.
Our general fund, yes.
Gotcha. Okay,
All monies that we acquire goes back into the general fund.
gotcha.
And this, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tony.
I was just gonna say, I love the calendar of events y'all come out with too. I think the public really likes that.
All right, thank you.
The fireworks show was great. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. The fireworks show was great. It was really good. I was across the street at the Elks, and they just let anybody park there, and the kids just ran and played, and it was just a good night for the public to be out and to experience all that. So thankful we got it in the month of July. So that really means a lot. I do have one question on
Yes.
the concessions.
Yes.
Is that total sales, not profit, right?
No, it's total sales.
Total
Yes, not
sales,
profit.
okay.
Yes, that is total sales.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Dorothy.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to planning and codes, Director Gentry.
Thank you. Good morning. I'll give a full department update on Tuesday, but I did want to mention some important dates that we have coming up. We do have a court hearing for property maintenance for 210 Lynn Drive, which is the old craft building. Mr. Hill will attend that hearing with us, and we've been working with that property owner. Hopefully, we're going to get some resolutions there on property maintenance. And then July the 26th, we have 5 condemnation hearings scheduled. The properties include 515 Hedgemore Avenue, 1013 Campbell Street West, 1008 Locust Street, 805 Lincoln Avenue South, and 1710 Pulaski Highway. A lot of these properties have been on our logs for a very long time, and we're hoping to get some cleanup or some of these may actually end up having to be demolished. One of the other cases that we just took through last month I think it's 412 Market Street West, they do, it's the Rock House near FPU, they have got the house down. They do have to clean up the debris, so that's a victory. And we've got several more on the radar, but we're trying to stagger them to make sure that we get all the paperwork done and we don't overload Mr. Hill. And, both of our inspectors have enjoyed some vacation time over the last week. Ms. Jill's back in the office today, and Jack will be back on Monday, so we're going to be playing catch up over the next week too. And that's my report.
Question, Ms. Christie, so that rock building there is just completely demolished. Is the rock still there?
They actually removed it.
Oh, they already have crap. Never mind. All right,
Yeah.
never mind. I was going to say, wouldn't mind having some of that rock
I know
used around the house.
on Monday that they had started, but he did remove all the rock, and
Gotcha.
then I guess over the holiday, at some point, he got it down. He's just got to get it removed.
That's it. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Zach Sibley for the IT department.
No action items, just reporting on a couple replacements and upgrades that I made for end of the fiscal year. We put a new audio amplifier in the police department's training room. It failed once again, so instead of getting a direct replacement, just got a whole new model and see how that works out over there. Also put a new projector in. They had a low lumen performing projector over there, 900 lumens. Got them a 3600 lumen projector, much clearer, easier to see with sunlight coming in through the windows. Recreation department, we replaced their large format printer, Ricoh IM 2004, got upgraded to IMC 3000. No charge, and I got them 150 extra copies of color printing allowance. They were at zero, so they typically didn't print anything in color, but off chance they did, they would hit an overage, so should cut out any overage fees coming in over the recreation department. Bought 4 additional 8 terabyte hard drives for my NAS array here in the municipal building. This is the NAS that we use for PC backups and shared files between employees across the city. Installed a TV that we had in storage for the finance director for sharing her worksheets and spreadsheets with directors when they're needing to work on the budget or finances. Also replaced another TV that had failed a week after putting up the finance TV in planning and codes. Backlight went out on it. It was just flash on and off, so I had to go. One was having a sale, so I picked up one, replaced that just fine. Other thing in the works, I'm looking into, we have some users around the city that use a shared PC account, and I'm trying to move everyone away to have their own separate PC account. Simplifies securing files, preventing files from being touched by other employees. We had a couple complaints, so I'm just going to nip it in the bud and have people use their own accounts. Also, at the police department, working on building a phone menu when you dial their main number. So dial in, press 2 for investigators, press 3 for chief, press 4 for front office, tickets, stuff like that. They're getting a bunch of calls, more than usual is what I'm hearing, so I'm trying to cut out the people up front having to stop what they're doing, go answer a call when they may be tending to someone who just walked in the front door, just trying to make things easier for them over there. Other than that, that's my report.
Zach, any update possibly on the speakers that's going to be around the square eventually, or?
I've not heard, no update on that actually. No, tourism money was being utilized for that.
Okay.
That's all I really know about it. They brought me in to talk about the specs of it, but I haven't up the back end of it.
Got you, buddy. I appreciate it.
I think that might be Mr. Owens.
Yeah, and all of that would have been part of the new 24 budget, so as you know, we approved it on Monday, so a lot of that stuff will start being implemented as of now.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, so next up is finance. Director Jamie Owen.
Morning.
Hey, morning.
The first thing we have is a resolution for the Safety Partners Grant. This is a 50-50 grant up to $3,000. So we could spend $6,000 and of course get the 50% of the $3,000 back. What we'll look at is any safety needs for employees throughout the city. We've started with a couple of ideas and those were kind of declined, so we're going back and currently right now I'm going to look at Public Works and then possibly the Rec Center, because that's where a lot of our claims are coming from. So we'll start with those two departments first. The second one we have is the budget amendment number 6 for the federal school system, and that one's just a year-end cleanup. Nothing out of the ordinary for that. The third we have will be the financials on local sales tax. For this month, for last year, we received in $307,266. For the current month, we've received $309,985. And year to date for local sales tax, we are up $264,953. We're at 104% for the year. And for the budget, we budgeted around a 3% growth, so we should be good. We've seen that consistently. For the occupancy tax, last year for this month, we received in $15,682. For the current month, we've received $15,309. Year to date, it's an increase of $31,986 at 115%. So we're seeing a lot of our occupancy and that staying inside. So we're seeing that increase pass through. For property tax, year to date, we are up $135,371 and at 92%. So I will look at that again during year-end close and adjust that any way we need to. One thing I'd like to add on the rec center, when we talked about the kids park, just for funding wise for that. That was a non-budgeted item. However, we have an item in their budget currently that we don't anticipate using at $20,000. So we will request to swap that use of that money so that we could still cover the kids' part. So just to let you know, as far as funding wise, how that would be covered. Does anyone have any questions?
So that you don't anticipate using was for what to begin with?
It was for a strategic plan for this upcoming year. So I think that we're going to do it a different way or possibly in a different phase. So for right now, we were going to propose just to use this money for Kids Park since it was an immediate need. And then later on throughout the year, look at for the strategic plan, how we need to do that.
Sounds like a good plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on now to administration. City Administrator, Mr. Owens.
Good morning, Mayor and Alderman. My report starts that we have item number 1. We have a resolution to accept the traffic signal mobilization grant. As I mentioned, I think in previous meetings that we were able to be recipients of this particular grant for traffic signals, pedestrian traffic signals that will replace some infrastructure. This is supposed to be more ADA accessible, and we would get a chance to replace it at no cost to the city. So we have a resolution that we would like the board to consider on that one.
So the amount on that was 400 and something?
Up to value up to 470. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
470,000?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Unless there's any other questions. Item number 2 was, I guess last month we talked about flags, and the Warrior exhibit had asked the county and the city to split the cost for flags, but the estimated cost was not what it really was. We did pay $375 towards the 75 flags, but found out that once the flags were ordered, there were $186.73 by each the county and the city that was required. So we wanted to bring back to the board for permission to pay that additional $186.73 for the 75 flags that's been presented around town.
Is that terrorism?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think we did. Yes.
I know that I talked to Linda Williams with the Warrior Project. She had called me, and they try to monitor the flags, and they do stay up a long time from mid-May till November through Veterans Day, and so the flags are out quite a long time, and some weather better than others. I don't know why, but just I guess their location. And then when she reordered, it was at a higher cost as everything is coming in. So that she apologized, was hoping to keep it within range, but it was just something she couldn't avoid. So.
That's correct.
Will this be based on if the county contributes, or we're just going to do this period?
So my understanding is that the county has already done theirs. So this is just an addition of being eligible as. And if I may, I'm going to do 3, 4, and 5 sort of together, since a lot of it sort of interrelates. And this is my report on animal control. We do have Chairman, Humane Society Chairperson in the audience today, so I am going to try to hit the high points of it. But as we have mentioned, that we are looking at animal control operations and a proposed RFP that is in your package. We've been kind of going over this, and we have developed an RFP based on looking at about 5 municipalities and standards in the National Animal Control Association. So we developed an RFP that we are hopeful to go out probably the 17th. That's more likely the date, but if anybody has any questions or concerns, please let us know because it is still in the draft form. One of the items that are in there that we had looked at is item number 17. And it says, and that one should be the fees are set by the bidders. It would be approved by the city and the county, and the utilized entity, which whoever is the winning bidder, they would use those funds for improving and animal control services. So those funds in item 17 will remain with the vendor as proposed. As you all know, we've been on a month-to-month contract since October. We're hopeful that when the conclusion of the bid that we can put in a permanent contract by October 1st, so that will be 1 year. The last time we have had a real active contract was 2018. So we're trying to put in an active contract whoever receives the bid. And that would go throughout, I think, the second or third week of August. And that would give the county and the city a chance to accept the bid and put the bid into place before October 1st. Also in operations, we do have a new shelter director who has been very helpful with keeping me updated on concerns and anything there operational. Right now, we're keeping about 125 animals housed in the shelter on a regular basis. We're also working on the lighting completion. We installed a different portion yesterday. So that is coming to a close. One thing that Jack has on his schedule when he returns from vacation is to go through a check. We don't know what that date is going to be, but we expect it to be sometime in July. But we understand the lighting project is going fairly well, and we're hopeful to get that complete in the next week or so. Humane vehicle option, we talked about that. We do have a vehicle here at the city that is owned by the city. We have had it checked. Eddie, his staff checked it out. Relatively good shape. The Kelly Blue Book, Jamie and her staff found out that it's valued right now at $2,871 at the present time. It's a 2008 Dodge Brand Caravan with 83,000 miles. If we decide to sell the van, we would have to put it on Gov Deal. State law will allow us to donate city property to a worthy cause. The only other use we have had for the van, the school system has used it a few times throughout the year to transport kids, as well as the chamber uses it for the annual Hamburg on Hill Day. So those are the only use right now known with the van. Bill Newman is also working on an option that we should know sometime today or tomorrow from the South Central Development District. He's been working with the Transportation Director to see whether there were any surplus vans available. He has also reached out to the faith community to see whether any vans are available through our faith partners through the city. We have found out that a couple of the counties, adjacent counties, they have had vans donated from churches that they're using for animal control. So we are looking at those, and Bill feels like he can have an answer, but we haven't available any options with those by tomorrow, by Friday, yes. I also been speaking to a common vendor that houses a lot of animal control vehicles throughout the state, and that is called Jackson Creek Manufacturing, and they probably manufacture about 40% of the animal control vehicles. They can lease us a vehicle if we desire to go there. It wasn't cheap, but they can do one lease probably for a minimum of 6 months if we desire to go there. And finally, as far as my report, animal control emergency repairs, we did have an emergency repair, sewage backed up, and we had a couple of plumbers to go out as well as FPU. It was found to be on the property. So we did do an emergency repair, which had replaced 4 inches next to the front gate as well as the trough system. I learned something about a trough drain over the last week. We had to go through 3 of those. The total cost was $4,500. Right now that's planned to be split between the city and the county. But that has been done. We were able to complete that work, I believe, on yesterday. So that is my report for now, and I'm able to address any questions that you all may have.
So Kevin, on that van, last month I think we talked about it, to donate it to the Humane Society. Why, I mean, now we're pushing it along again to wait for the county. You said we're waiting for the county to decide what they're gonna do. Why can't we just go ahead and push it on?
Well, no, those not that we're waiting, those were just an option that, Bill Newman had offered as far as what that he may can do. At one point in time, the county was looking at donating a vehicle, so I did ask whether there was still an interest, and he wanted to look to see whether those, but that has no really impact on us.
But so the one we have now, Eddie and them looked at it, it's ready to go, we could actually donate it to them, and if they don't win the bid, they would give it back to us.
I guess we would have to make whatever conditions there would be, but that's the conditions of the van, yes.
I'd like to see that move forward for a vote to go Tuesday. Let's go and just get it over and give it to them for the time being, because this bid ain't gonna go out till August, and they're in dire need of a vehicle, and then, so I'd like to see that go forward for Tuesday night.
I would too.
What's the value again on that?
The value is $2,871 and I think 73 cents. Yeah, some change.
I don't have a problem with that either.
I'm good with it. I suppose there's got to be some kind of provisions in the agreement that if they didn't continue to do the work, of course, I guess the van will come back to us. But I'm okay with it. I've been okay with that for a while. But in this bid proposal, I see it's due by August 17th.
Right.
And we're running all of this through the city. If the county really doesn't, the county, we're doing the bid proposal.
We're doing the bid proposal.
Everything.
Right.
We have a right to reject and all this.
All of that, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So in the scenario, okay, the bid goes out, bid comes in. Let's say the bid is pretty high. Then what do we do?
I anticipate the bid's gonna be high.
And the bid may be higher than what we're paying.
Yeah, well, I'm just asking, what do we do? You know, that's something we need to be aware of going into a bid proposal like this. The board, we need to be aware, you know, if a bid comes in, whatever comes in, we need to be aware that we're going to make a decision.
Right, and we would have a right if we want to deny the bid, but it's a very possibility that you're correct, that it could come in higher.
Okay, well, I just get that out there in front before it happens. If it happens.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, well, I'm just, on the vehicle, I'm good with moving that vehicle on. I've been good with that for a couple of months now. So, if that's what the board wants to do, anything to do with help out there, because I tell you, they got a difficult situation.
And Kevin, maybe to clear the matter up, is the reason the city is doing the bid is because by charter, we have to provide animal control. Is that what, whereas the county, is that the reason that we're doing this bid?
And that's sort of a tricky question. Because I was understanding that the county had more responsibility than the city. And even, and of course, I'm coming from Alabama, and it definitely was the county that had more responsibility. And I kind of think the county has more than we do. Mm-hmm. A little bit of the reason why we are doing it this kind of way is because actually I've done bids before for animal control, and it had the connections, I think, more than anything else.
The information I had up front was verbal, but it was that the county is responsible by state law for animal control. They have to have animal control. I don't know that we've got anything in our charter that actually addresses animal control. I don't remember anything being in there, but we definitely do. Absolutely.
It's in the charter.
Is it in the charter? Okay, I don't know. Anyway, either way.
Our municipal code.
Yeah.
There is
probably in the codes. Probably in the codes. I think it's probably in the codes. But well, I could. It doesn't make any difference who does the bid, right. City or county, either one. It doesn't make any difference. Same outcome either way.
And we have met Mayor Newman, myself, and Kevin. We have met kind of on a weekly basis, going over this, double checking everything and doing a lot of research on this, so.
Maybe we can put it to rest. Hope we can.
Anything else, Mr. Owens?
No, but as far as my report, I do want to say that we are, just to let the board know that we're still, and you probably saw my update, but we are really pushing now to see whether we can go outside the box and finding bidders for the sidewalk square. We did the pre-construction meeting on last Friday. Mayor attended and several staff members. But right now, as of last Friday, we didn't have any solicitations. So Houston, as well as myself, are kind of reaching beyond the normal to see whether we can get some bidders out there. The bid opening is scheduled for Tuesday. So we do have some concerns, and Houston is returning from vacation today, from earlier this week. So we're going to get on the phone later today. So just wanted to keep the board informed with that, and you may get an email from me by this weekend on how we're looking on that. The other thing is that we're working, and there's a lot of work next week. We'll be on the multimodal assets grant. We're starting to get a few references from other political leaders. So we do plan to submit on the 18th. The entire staff, including Public Works and planning, they're working with me, Eddie and Christy and Jack and Jamie. We're all working together to try to submit something with the 18th, also with Lisa Cross. And my third one, I know a lot of people ask about the due process, but just to remind everybody that if anybody want to speak on Tuesday evening, they need to be able to make that be known through our office by 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Pam made some nice forms. If you want to speak, just contact the office and we'll make sure you get the forms, and we'll go through that, and I send out an email prior the list of speakers. So we have up to 2 p.m. on Tuesday if you want to speak at the board meeting. And my final one, we did get some good news. After this meeting, we will be meeting with the Blue Cross and Healthy Parks person. So she's coming down, and we're going to talk about the park and see whether we can get a jump start to the application process, and maybe we can get some money for some new equipment as well. So she is coming down and try to help and guide us on what we need to do with that process. And that concludes my report.
Any questions?
So we got several here that goes on to, we have to vote on the contract and all this. All right.
Okay, the only other thing on the agenda today is board appointments. I have sent the board a notification of my recommendations, and for the library board, it's Faye Hill. Very experienced. We're looking forward to her experience coming to the board, sharing with that if approved. Also, board appointment for SPU. We have a city position and a county position. That is going to be Mike Keenan and also Nolan Tallman. And for the Board of Appeals, this is a reappointment. Danny Shelton is the chairman of that board this year. And his term was up, will be up, and he wanted to stay on the board. The board wanted him to stay with his experience as a general contractor. So that's a reappointment. And then also for the Airport Authority, we have our appointee here in the audience today, Mr. Jeff Wilcox. Jeff has attended some of the meetings at the airport. He is a local guy. He graduated from Lincoln County. He went on to the University of Tennessee, where he earned his degree in business enterprise management and marketing. And then he moved home to work alongside his father for several years with Jostens, and Jeff is still, he has branched out and he started his own company, doing a great job with that. Jeff is also an avid aviation enthusiast. His love for aviation started at a young age, which led him to earn his pilot's license. He often travels around different airports, and he looks forward to learning on ideas of where he's seen elsewhere and bringing experience to the Federal Airport Authority. I also have attached a letter from Mr. Sheridan, and he has met with Jeff, and he is so impressed, and he has recommended this appointment also. He's very excited to get some younger people on this board, and they are really excited to have Mr. Wilcox join them. So that's the recommendations to the board, and we will vote on that Tuesday night.
Boy can dance too.
On the library board, is her term up? Does she didn't do this?
No, I'm sorry. Fayhill is replacing Shante Fulton.
Right, is her term up?
Yes.
She don't want to be back on it? Or
She's served the maximum terms.
And the FPU board, their term is up,
Their terms are up, yes.
and they want to be off the board?
I don't know that I have spoke to both of them. They've served, for quite a while, and they were okay.
I was gonna say, I talked to John Paul Richardson and Paul Richardson. They are still willing to serve, wanting to do stuff. So just wanted to make a recommendation that if they could stay, if possible.
That's what I'm gonna say, that's my recommendation. I want to keep the board the same on both of those.
There's a lot of certification that goes in that too, and a lot of money to put them through. So
They spend a lot of money.
I'm not for
I don't
switching
want to
out
push that
those
board at
either.
all.
I'm the same. I'd like to see Richardson and, is it Woodward?
Woodward. I like to see them stay.
They both want to stay.
They do. I spoke to both of them as well, likewise. So, yeah, I don't want to move, I don't see us moving that, I don't want to move that forward.
Okay. Well, their terms have expired, so they're no longer on the board. That'll leave a vacancy, so.
Well, it's up for a vote. We can keep them
We can
on
keep
there if
them
we
on there.
want to.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to approve and nothing against the two people that are coming in, just certifications and a lot of experience with those two, and I'm not for removing them.
Costs quite a bit of money to certify and go to
Yeah.
classes too.
So I guess what I'm gathering, I guess it needs to go to vote to like to keep those two back on the board for Tuesday night. Is that how we want to do it? Or?
We don't have to take them forward.
Oh, you don't have to, that's
We
right.
don't take them
No, that's
forward,
right.
they
So we don't
stay.
have to, they stay. That's right.
They remain if we don't vote on
Right.
it. Okay.
Is that true, Johnny?
I'll have to look into that.
I think once their term expires, it's the mayors can make a recommendation. But if you'll look into that before Tuesday night, notify the board.
I'll get in touch with the board on that again.
Okay.
And if it's not true that they don't stay unless we vote on it, if we can make a motion to leave them on the board at that time, if that's something we can do.
For reappointment.
I think I understand what everyone's asking. Let me look into it. I'll be back with the board on that.
Okay. All right, anything else from the board? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.